So to begin with the Hatzalah, with the Nes of Chavches Siven, we are privileged to have with us Rabbi Dr. Joseph Sungolowsky, who was the professor of French literature at Queen's College. Dr. Sungolowsky's father was Rabbi Aaron Gershon, who was a Rav in Belgium. And when the Nazis invaded Belgium in 1940, his family fled to Vichy, France. And as we know, the story of how the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin came over from Europe to America is that they ran from Paris to Vichy, and they spent some time there. And eventually from Vichy, the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin went through Portugal and came to America. While in Vichy, that's where Dr. Sungolowsky's mishpacha and his father got to be acquainted with the Rebbe. And we would like to ask Dr. Sungolowsky, Rabbi Dr. Sungolowsky, to share with us his memories of the Rebbe from that time.
Be careful, okay?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I wish you all good Yontef, because this is a special Yontef. We're has been the theme of my last relationship with the recent relationship with the Lubavitcher Hasidim, and it's a real pleasure to be here. The presenter, Rabbi, what's his name? Rabbi Kamen. Rabbi Kamen has already alluded to part of my biography, but there is a little more to say, because it's there are memories that remain always very much alive. I would like to explain two things. First of all, that in a way my presence here is a result of coincidences. Coincidences, and coincidences apparently don't really have a relationship one to the other, but they came together. The very first one I want to make make allusion to it, and this is the meeting that I had not long ago, just around after Pesach, I think, in Queens, because I live in Queens, with Rav Chaim, who is here and has been taking care of this whole program and taking care actually of bringing me in closer to the Lubavitcher Hasidim, although they are not unknown to me, they are not unknown to my family, and I will explain it. Because as the rabbi had just explained before, it's when we fled from Belgium to France, and it was very dangerous, a very dangerous period, the beginning of World War II. We didn't know exactly where to go and how to do it. So finally we came, we kind of established ourselves over there, but this was like a renewal of a contact, not really a renewal, because I have a very long connection with Lubavitch, very wonderful friends and wonderful people, wonderful Hasidim, wonderful Yirei Shomayim. But the fact that I met this Rabbi Chaim, it was a real pleasure for me, because I started speaking to him. And whenever I see these groups, sometimes I very often go over to them and I say to them, are you people speaking French? And many times they were speaking French, and this gentleman was speaking French. I said, well, that's magnificent. And then I asked him for his name, and then he said that he's the grandson of Rabbi Matazov of Toulouse, and I reminded him how wonderful, really, in the Lubavitch tradition, I was received, I was welcomed by Rabbi Matazov. It was a matter of being to spend Shabbos in Toulouse, because I was leading a group of students from the university in New York, and bringing them to France and visit France, and I had to stay Shabbos. So Rabbi Pinson said to me, you know, if you stayed in Toulouse, then you should contact Rabbi Matazov, and you will see everything will be taken care of. And they had to be taken care of, because the next day, Sunday, I had to meet the group in Paris and then be there. So Rabbi Matazov said, don't worry about it, you are going to be there. And sure enough, Sunday morning, he got me a plane, and I was in Paris at 10 o'clock in the morning, which was the time that I was to be there, and everything went wonderful. So that was a great adventure, very typical of a Lubavitcher type of a welcome. The other thing is something that is concerning. This is more This is history, but that is far back into history, and that's the meeting with the Rebbe. With the Rebbe, how did this take place? That's very interesting. When we came to Vichy, my family went to Vichy. Vichy was a place where Jews gathered at the beginning of World War II. And there was a place in Vichy, a hotel, where people met people who were refugees themselves. And they came there because they wanted to establish contacts, to look for people. It was in a hotel, it's called the Hotel Charmel. And I remember when I spoke in the video, I didn't remind myself of the name of the hotel. The hotel name was Charmel. Many people came, and among these people that used to come, many of them were speaking Russian. I remember they were Russian speaking. There was a rabbi, and the name of this rabbi was Rabbi Schneerson, and turned out that he was a cousin of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And this Rabbi Schneerson lived there for a little while. Didn't last long, because Jews had to be expelled from Vichy, because it became the seat of the collaborationist government that was collaborating with Hitler, and all the foreigners had to leave. And this is when we left, and we went to Nice. So when we met Rabbi Schneerson, my father found out that Rabbi Schneerson had a minyan on Shabbos, and my father went to daven there. I was a little boy, but I understood how things were going on, and I was very much interested in it myself. Therefore, I was very close to my father and wanted to know all kinds of things, and that's why many of these memories have remained are part of myself, so to speak. So he came home on Shabbos afternoon, and he said to the people in the family, you know, I davened in the Beis Medrash of Rav Schneerson, and over there I met the son-in-law of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Well, we knew what the son-in-law, we knew about the son-in-law of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, because my mother very often referred to the son-in-law. So it wasn't a foreign name to us. And my father said, and this young rabbi, whoever he was, is the son-in-law of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and he's a tremendous Talmid Chacham. And that made a tremendous impression on me. Look at that. I said, we just came from Belgium, we're refugees and all that, and they have a contact with such a well-known person. And this was the first meeting and the first a kind of also a coincidence, so to speak. So we met him, and that's it. That was he came home. That was the end of that. Few days later, we knew that we had to leave because, as I just explained, we were being expelled. We said, my father said, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to take you for a walk. We're going to go for a little walk, in promenade. In French, we call it promenade. And you take your children on a walk, and we walk on this main street in Vichy, and all of a sudden, the son-in-law of the Lubavitcher Rebbe was on that street, on the same sidewalk. I remember it very well. And he saw my father, and he stopped, and he had a conversation with my father. My father was holding me by the hand, and they had a conversation. I don't know what they're talking about. Too much of a child to understand content, but they were talking about something. I think the Rabbi Chaim asked me the other day, do you remember what he said, what the Lubavitcher Rebbe said to your father? I said, I'm sorry to say, but I didn't, because I was watching the traffic. And I couldn't, I wouldn't have understood anyway. But this was the second meeting, this coincidence that I had, that we had, that my family had, and this strengthened already the beginning of the relationship that my family had with Lubavitch. So we came to Nice, so we moved to Nice, and sure enough, shortly after, the Lubavitcher Rebbe himself, he was not the Rebbe yet, he came to Nice also. And he came to daven in the shul. I explained while we were traveling the car that there was only one Ashkenaz shul in Nice at the time, the other one was a Sephardic shul. And this is where most of the people who came who were thinking that they would be able to find friends or able to indicate places where they would be protected during the war. They used to meet in this hotel, and they used to talk to one another. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe, as a matter of fact, did follow, so to speak, the crowd, and he came himself, and he waited. He stayed in Nice for about a year or so, because he was waiting for the acceptance of the papers that were arranged for him to go to the United States. And again, there was some sort of a conversation, and I remember the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who became the Lubavitcher Rebbe, he stayed there, and he stayed in Nice for about almost a year, and he kind of trusted my father very much so. There was not, they didn't know each other that much, but he had this inward trust that he had for my father. And at one point, the Rebbetzin, the wife of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, came to our house, or there was an amazing arrangement that was made, whereby the Rebbetzin wanted to attend how you get the milk from a cow on a farm to have Cholov Yisrael. And she asked my mother if she would accompany her. And my mother said, yes, why not? And she went with her. And she also took advantage of this particular Hido mitzvah, so to speak. And so this was a second contact. And then there was another one. All this was in Nice. It was Pesach was coming around, and the Rebbe said to my father, I have a problem. I have to have wine for the Abakoises, and I have no wine. So my father said, don't worry, we will arrange that. And he went to buy raisins raisins, and he made wine, and there was enough for Arba Koises. And my sister, I have an older sister who lives in Jerusalem today, will gesund sein, and she went and she brought the wine to the Rebbe for Pesach. And after that, of course, the situation, I'm not going to go into the details, the situation was very difficult. The French police was persecuting Jews, taking away their business, and there were laws that were established by those who were collaborating with the Germans. They forced the French to obey their own laws, and that meant take away the business from the Jews and so on and so forth, and persecuting them. And despite that, Jewish life was going on. So that was the end of that, and the Rebbe luckily was able to leave, and this has been told in the biographies. So we didn't meet him until we as my family eventually decided to move to the United States. And after we moved, my father said, "Oh, we have to go and pay a visit to the Rebbe on Yechidus." And that was one of the early periods in the life of the Rebbe when he was granting Yechidus to special people. We had to go to Crown Heights, and we waited until about 1 o'clock in the morning until we were able to get the Yechidus, and that's it. In those days, it was not so dangerous to travel from wherever we were in New York to Brooklyn. It was a nice Jewish neighborhood. And we were there, and during the Yechidus, there was the third contact that we had with the Rebbe, who was very wonderful and was very, very brotherly, so to speak. I think I mentioned it in the video. If you had a chance to see it, the Rebbe had a tremendous amount of what you call altruism, a sense of altruism. To be mechabed, anyone to be mechabed, and not to show any kind of a distinction by the fact that he was the scion of such a great family. To him, he was giving was mekabel everyone b'sev upon him offers. I would say that much. And this was the contact that we had with him. I would like to say that these memories have remained very, very, very strong with us. And it's true that the Hasidim from Lubavitch used to come to our house whenever they came to France. And the first stop that they would come, when they come to Nice, they would come to our house. So there was like an ongoing contact between my family and Lubavitch, and that's why I always feel good, like I just feel tonight with all of you here, to be so nicely welcomed. I would like to say two things. I'd like to say two things. In a way, I feel that I emulate the Rebbe. I emulate the Rebbe. Why? Because the Rebbe came to the United States, and it was very, very difficult. It's all described, what he had to go through until he was able to leave. Until he was able to leave, and there was also Alpi Derechnes, there were the Nisim there, one after another. But he came because the Ribboni Shalom probably reserved for him a certain role, and he fulfilled the role, the establishment of this Harbotzas HaTorah VeHaChasidus, the way he has done it, and to have brought the whole group of not only the philosophy, the Hasidus, the learning of Torah, the approach to Yiddishkeit. He was designated to do that, and that's why there was a hashgacha protis on the part of the Ribboni Shalom to see to it that that he came there himself. And that's why I say it's humor. But I said I emulated the Rebbe the same way the Rebbe felt the need to come to the United States in order to preserve Yiddishkeit and to do that. The same way I came also for that purpose, because I'll explain to you why. I'm in a completely different field. It's a field. I happen to be a Muslim, but after I ended after my smicha, I went into the academia, and in academia, I always was proud of the fact that I had this background, and I never hid it for anyone. So in a way, I say, well, I think I learned something from the Rebbe, and that's the way I conducted my life. So I want to wish you all. I would like to add this. After all, we are celebrating a Chag. We're doing a Chag. It's interesting that it happens that it's a thought that came to me recently, that still during the month of Sivan, in the month of Sivan, there is always like a prolongation of the atmosphere of Kabbalah Satorah. And this goes for a long time. For 7 days after Shavuos, we don't say Tachnun and so on and so forth. But the point is that we are happy. We should be happy that it happens again in this period that is still penetrated by the atmosphere of Kabbalah Satorah. So therefore, I want to wish you all Hatzlacha, and in all your enterprises, in your learning, in your Hasidus, and may we always meet, all of us, of Simchas, and in Simchas where we celebrate Kedusha and Hasidus and Habotzas HaTorah. Thank you very much.
Ashekayach, on behalf of all of those that are sitting here at the Farbrengen and those that are watching online via the live broadcast, we thank you for sharing with us these precious, rare for us Chassidim. It's amazing to hear a live grus from the Rebbe from those days, and we hope that these special memories and encounters and shaykhs with the Rebbe should be for a schus for you and your family for many, many lange, gesunte Jahren.